right, everyone, it's your boy Genius. Finally got out to the range with the SAR CM9. Before we get to talking or yakking about that, I just want to, once again, as always, invite you to know Jesus Christ is your Savior. You need a Savior because by one man sin passed upon all. We were born sinners, and whether you like that or not, it is a fact, and Christ died on the cross to pay your sin debt. All you have to do is accept it, have a permanent home in heaven. Why don't you take care of that today? If you don't know how, ask me how you can know. Be more than happy to share that with you. Also, go over, check me out on Patreon. Consider supporting $5 a month. Cancel anytime. Also, go over to gsquaredtactical.com. You can support me over there. Buy some hats. I know I don't have one on, but I try not to wear the product I'm selling. And do super thanks also on YouTube. We get that as well. But either way, what I have here today, once again, as I've already said, is the two-tone stainless version of the SAR or SAR CM9. Okay, now, I was excited about this pistol whenever I found it for $219. Now, I am still excited about it, as you could see from that one shooting montage there. I think I hit the very same spot on the target maybe 7 or 8 times. Now, at first I did kind of pull it just a little bit, but once I brought it in, man, this thing is stupid flat shoot. Well, I shouldn't say flat shooting. It is stupid accurate. If you're just sitting here pulling, one at a time, just shooting at paper, no stress, it is crazy accurate. We'll talk about it's weird because it looking at it on camera, it kind of looks flat shooting, but surprisingly, it was more snappy. My wife shot the gun. I got 14 rounds loaded up in here to make it 150 on camera, but she shot a magazine off camera, and I shot a magazine off camera just to make sure I had my sights, because it is an adjustable rear sight. And the first thing she said when she turned around was that's more jumpy than the Masada Slim we just shot, which is kind of amazing considering this weighs more. So it does have more felt recoil. It's really hard to explain, but it also seems to be able to stay on target pretty good. It's really hard to explain. I won't even try to put that one into words. Either way, it performed really well. So just to talk about some of the features, it is a CZ75 clone. You do have this very thin slide profile up top that rides deep into the frame. It does have a all metal stainless guide rod, and it also has a stainless barrel, very well polished feed ramp, and very nice serrations on the gun. Okay, front and rear. And this is a double single action, although it is not or does not have a decocker. It does have a ambi safety. Nothing else on the gun is ambi, although it does look as though the mag release can be replaced or swapped around for the lefties. The mag release is very easily manipulated without adjusting your grip on the gun. Does have, as I mentioned, 3-dot white sights on this. The rear is adjustable for windage and for elevation, which is pretty cool. They are steel sights. And again, you do have the option of carrying this cocked and locked, as you see here. Okay, so double action, single action, as I said, does have this weep hole or peep hole, whatever you want to call it, up at the top or back of the barrel, so you can see if you have a round in the chamber or not. So coming on down, it does have these little serrated, rigid, whatever you want to call it, memory pads here. They're kind of a little underwhelming, I guess you could say. It does have a 2-slot pick rail up on the front here. It does have a very nice, large, squared off trigger guard, as you're accustomed to seeing on the CZ75. That is serrated on the bottom of the trigger guard, and it also is serrated on the front. It does have these finger grooves across the front, which kind of flares out towards the bottom, and although it does not technically have a flared mag well, it kind of acts that way in the front, as in keeping your grip high and tight. Okay, it does have a very H&K type feeling to the gun. It does have 3, 1, 2, 3 is how it's numbered. I can only assume that small, medium, large on the back straps. And the aggression of the texture on it is honestly not that great. It's a little more on the front and on the back, pretty slick on the side. When I first started shooting this gun, not expecting that little, not expecting it to be as snappy as it was, I noticed it slipped a little bit. So I would probably, if I had this gun, carried this gun, I would probably put some grip tape on there, because the texturing on it is not that great. It is very nicely undercut under the trigger guard here, and overall is a very good looking gun. It did come with two 17 round magazines on camera. As I said, we've put 150 rounds through it. My wife and I put two 17s through it off camera, so that'd be 167.
Two of them be 184.
184, so really technically 184 rounds. And then after this, that would be almost 200 rounds. But we're only going to talk about what you saw on camera. So to talk a little bit about the height, weight, the overall width on this gun is 1.1 inches. The overall height is 5.6. It weighs in at 28.5 ounces. The overall length is 7.3. The barrel length is a 3.8. And on this one, of course, it is a stainless steel slide 3-dot white sights, as I had already mentioned already. So either way, those are a few of your specs. Anyway, I'm going to put these 15 rounds through there, and technically that is 200 rounds. But again, we're just going to talk about the 15 that you saw on camera. My wife did not shoot on camera, but I will tell you that what she said about it is that, oh, this thing is bulky. It's not as thin as the Masada Slim was. And wasn't the Masada Slim, didn't it hold 17 rounds as well? And I was like, yeah, it did. It did. She said, well, I shot that way, way better than I did this. It was a little snappy for some reason. So let me shoot this last magazine, and I will give my final assessment on, whether it's worth buying this gun or not. I think most of you probably already know the answer to that. But 15 to make it 150. And I am standing back here at about 13 yards, which is a little further back than where I normally stand. But either way, so let's talk about the trigger. I didn't talk about the trigger, double single action trigger. So it's nothing to write home about if you're coming from a double action. Got a tiny little bit of take up, not bad at all. There is a ton of grit in the trigger, okay? Now, I know when I'm doing budget-friendly guns like this, if I don't have all things nice and wonderful to say, the trolls and the haters really come out strong. But again, I'm just telling it like it is. That's what this channel's about, just being honest. There is this weird, I don't know if it's like a rubbing. I wouldn't call it necessarily grit like sand. It's almost like a rubbing, okay? I'm sure with time that will get better, as a lot of triggers do. But either way, just wanted to mention that as we're coming back. That is a heavy, heavy double action trigger there, okay? Now, there's none of this where it gets lighter and then heavier again or anything like that. It is a consistent pull, so in that sense, I guess it is predictable, I guess you could say. So from a single action, about the same amount of take up, still have that like rubbing almost. I don't want to call it grittiness, it's like a rub. And then it breaks pretty clean at what feels like maybe 4 pounds, 3.5, 4 pounds, okay? But again, even on the reset, you have this, even on the progression back out towards the reset, it's like a catching, if you will, almost like a rub. I don't want to describe it as grit. It's like it's rubbing on the sides or something, okay? Again, Most stuff like that gets better with time. It's not a deal breaker, but so it is a hammer fired gun, so does not have a super short reset by no stretch of the imagination. Like I said, on the progression back towards it, I don't know if the lapel mic will pick this up. Did you hear that? I don't know if you could hear that or not. But you can literally hear the rub, like some type of rubbing. And then when you get out to the reset is actually very tactile in that it's audible. It's not as great pushing back on your finger, but again, you know that it reset. But there is this weird rub on the trigger coming back, but even more so going back towards the progression of the reset. So I don't know what that's about. The trigger is, meh, as some people would say. As some people would say, it's meh, you know. So there's your trigger. So either way, pretty accurate, good looking gun. Comes with a lot of features. Came with a tool to adjust your rear sight here. It came with a punch also to punch out the pin to change your back straps. It came with a cleaning brush. Came with a ramrod. Again, two 17-round magazines. It came with your back straps, a sticker, a lock, owner's manual, all of that stuff. So it is feature rich. So the answer to your question, I paid $219 for this gun. $219. So for $219, ran flawlessly from the very first time it was shot without fail. There was not a problem. Absolutely buy this gun for $219 because I feel like that trigger is going to work itself out. Might even, if you take it home and sand a little bit, sand something somewhere, it'll probably get a lot better and take a lot of that out of it. Or if you just want to take it out and just run the crap out of it, that whatever that is will probably straighten itself right out. So if that were gone and you put some grip tape on this thing, this would be a very, very formidable home defense truck gun or even a carry gun on a very, very tight budget. Absolutely go out and pick this gun up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sure there's something I missed, trying to not yak quite as much. If there's any questions you have about it, I respond to everyone in the comment section. The gun was not cleaned, it was not oiled prior to coming out here today, and it has been completely flawless. My only gripe about it is a little bit with the trigger and the texturing on the grip, but other than that, fantastic value. Stupid, crazy, accurate. Does have a little bit of a snap to it or felt recoil. The recoil response is not that of, like I said, the Masada Slim or something a little better, but definitely well worth $219. We will follow up on this some more in the future. But as always, thanks so much for watching. If you can't monetarily support me, hit the thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. That is the best way you can support me outside of monetarily. And as always, on this beautiful sunny day out at the range, to God be the glory.